Welcome, everyone, to day 2 of the Unnamed show on Unsafe Space, the Unnamed Daily Show. I'm Carter Laren. I'm with the bad mamma jamma, Keri Smith, after a bunch of technical difficulties, which you won't notice because it just means we were delayed in putting this up. Keri, say something. I don't know.
Good morning, Carter. Do we have a consensus yet on Covfefe?
I'm starting. So I think it's pronounced Covfefe or Covfefe. Yeah, Covfefe. It's Covfefe. I looked it up. Covfefe. I don't know how to say it. Covfefe.
I think I like Covfefe.
I think I didn't want to tie us to Trump as for a name like that, but
but Covfefe is so much bigger than Trump. That's
what I think. Yeah, I'm starting to be okay with it, Keri.
It's taken on a life of its own, and there's so many fun, I'm sure you're a fan of Mike Myers used to do Coffee Talk.
Oh, I forgot about Coffee
on
Talk.
SNL.
Yeah.
Covfefe Talk.
Yeah. It is. It's like that. It's, I was also thinking just like there's Coffee with Scott Adams, and I view us as like we're like the typo version of Scott Adams. So
yes,
it's a good. Yeah. There's a lot to talk about, but I don't know. Some weird stuff has been happening. Weird stuff is happening. The Mueller report is coming out on Thursday, so we can talk about that later. Can I start with a public service announcement based on the tweet that I saw?
Sure. Go ahead.
Keep your kids the hell away from school, especially higher education. What a fucking mess. By the way, we're going to swear on this show. I can't not swear in the mornings when we're doing. What a fucking mess. The Library Journal tweeted out an article. Library Journal, I don't know. I always thought of librarians because I was a nerd. I always thought of librarians as like the good people on the side of...
Ooh, not anymore.
On the side of truth and knowledge and learning. They tweeted out an article. I swear. Hold on, let me find...
I haven't seen this tweet, so I'm just saying they've been converged upon by SJWs a while back.
Oh yeah. So their tweet was, library collections continue to promote and proliferate whiteness with their very existence and the fact that they are taking up space in our libraries.
Oh, gosh.
Gosh.
Oh, this must have been, I just saw Helen Pluckrose tweeted this morning, libraries do not promote and proliferate whiteness, you utter Muppets.
Yes. Yeah. So this woman's name is Sophia Lung, and she wrote this article about it, and she's just retarded. She says things that are just stupid. Like, she says the libraries are paid for using money that was ill-gotten and at the cost of Black and brown lives in the prison industrial complex, the spoils of war, etc. Now, I don't know who you are, Sophia, but you're retarded. The libraries are not paid for by the prison industrial complex. That's an expense. That costs society. In fact, if we didn't have a prison industrial complex, which I am also against all this criminalization of stuff and putting people in jail, we would save money and you might get more money for your library. So they're actually competing with prison industrial complex money. That's a stupid thing to say. It is a stupid
ideology.
When do we get spoils of war? Spoils of war? The U.S. has been horrible in terms of bombing people in faraway countries and wasting money and lives on war. But we don't come home richer. They cost us money. These wars. It's not like when we fight a war in Iraq, like, the U.S. government doesn't seize the oil, which, by the way, like most other countries would, right? Yeah, they get to keep it. Yes, it gets eventually sold through private markets, but that has nothing to do with the U.S. government and libraries, which are mostly public institutions paid for by tax dollars. So fuck you, Sophia. Books. How could you ruin books? White. You know, the pages are white too. You want to write a freaking article about that, you moron? I'm sorry. It makes me so angry.
I know you're angry.
Don't send kids anywhere near these people. These people are toxic. This is a brain virus.
So I was looking up. Look, here's the thing. I get your anger.
Over. I'm gonna drink some tea while you
drink some tea. Calm down. Just no. I'm in an angry mood about personal life stuff. So this is just amping angry Keri up to 11.
Oh, we haven't talked about this. Have there been developments since yesterday?
Oh gosh.
Make you angry?
Oh man. We'll have to do a whole separate show called Carter gives Keri life advice to get out of her problems.
The show we will never air.
That will never air. An audience of one. I'll go back and watch them and be like, oh yeah, he told me to do that a long time ago. I should have listened.
20 years from now, we'll release the archives.
That, by the way, that's kind of what I feel about Christianity. When I did come back to God and I started reading the Bible after over 20 years, and I was reading, I think I may have told you this, but reading the red letters, reading the words of Jesus, I'm like, he's like, don't lie. You know? If you just read, he's got some good advice here. Like if you just read all this and you wouldn't have made so many mistakes and had to learn from them the hard way. Or as my aunt says, the school of hard knocks. I went to the school of hard knocks. Okay. I'm gonna get back on track. Okay. Anger.
Yeah, speaking of Christianity, I'm actually hopefully today I'm going to finish. I'm watching a video someone sent me about from Prager University claiming that without God there's no more. The title of the video is "Without God, Murder Isn't Wrong," and that also pisses me off. So I'm making a response video.
Oh, you do your response video. So I want to say something about this.
To make matters worse. Okay, go ahead. Say something.
Okay, so this does make me very angry, and I temper that, or I'm able to temper that usually. But just hearing about stories and not having that time and space between hearing about it, I get angry like any person. And it reminds me of something I read about. I was just looking up on my phone to see if I could find it. But you and I are hearing this stuff all the time about SJW creep into libraries and elementary schools and even kindergartens all across the country. And every new one, it's not like I'm surprised because I've heard enough of them now, but I guess I'm surprised that there hasn't been a larger public backlash. And I think that's because people are sort of, like we've talked about, people who are just hardworking and getting stuff done and providing for their families. They're not online all the time. They're not listening to academics that, maybe they're coming into contact with this in one or two small ways, or maybe their kid comes home from school and they're like, why are you learning about that? But they haven't seen the big picture because they've got real lives and they're doing real jobs. And so I think the reason we haven't seen that huge public backlash on it is because people just don't realize that this is they're seeing like the tip of the iceberg and they don't see the rest of it, under the water. But so anyway, this story that I heard last week, and I don't know if you've heard this one. Okay, here's the headline. Now, this is from Daily Wire because it's the first one that came up. And for all of my people on the left, we've talked about this before. Daily Wire, they've got a bias. Yes, they do. They do. They have a conservative point of view, and they tell you right up front. If you go to the About Us page, they say, hey, we're conservative, which is cool. I kind of like when people are honest about their point of view, as opposed to someone everyone has one, as opposed to a leftist site like BuzzFeed or Huffington Post, which if you go to their point of view, they don't even tell you. They just pretend to be non-biased. So anyway, yes.
Or CNN.
Or CNN. So these guys have a point of view, which they tell you about. We're all adults. We're all smart and intelligent enough to be able to filter out the facts from the opinion part of this article. At least I hope so. So anyway, here's their headline.
I'm not sure I agree with that, but we should be.
We're adults here. Okay, school lets transgender advocate address kindergartners, says it informed parents that they could opt out. This report says the district lied. Okay, this article is from March 18th. At the very end of February, an elementary school in Arlington, Virginia, had kindergartners sit on the floor to hear a transgender spokesperson for the HRC, the Human Rights Campaign, read them a book in which the claim is made that a boy can have a, quote, girl brain but a boy body, end quote, or a boy brain and a girl body. The school district later claimed that parents were notified by a letter ahead of time and were allowed to opt out if they chose. But that claim was reportedly false. As Casey Chalk, himself the father of 3 small children, notes, it said the copy of the letter provided, blah, 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 shows no offer for parents to pull their kids out of the activity. Moreover, although the letter notes that a book written by a transgender person would be read to the class, again, this is a kindergartner class, 4 and 5-year-olds, it does not explicitly say that the kindergartners will be learning that they have a girl brain, but a boy body, or vice versa. Nor does it say that kids would be read to this is their point of view coming into play, people in love, by a cross-dressing man who calls himself Sarah. Rather, it says only there will be a discussion around the big ideas of the books, which are that we want to accept and welcome all people. Okay, by the way, this isn't even the one I was looking for, Carter. Oh my gosh, there was another school. It wasn't in Virginia. There was another one. There was a different one where they sent home a letter supposedly to allow the parents to opt out, but it was right before Thanksgiving, or an email. It's right before Thanksgiving.
You told me about this.
Yeah, so that was a different one. And the parents, it was buried, by the way, in the email way down. It was right before a holiday, so a lot of parents didn't see it and didn't get the chance to opt out. And then one of the parents who opted out said he went to the school that day, and the kids were still, even the ones who had opted out, they were still attending and watching. It was videos. They were watching videos. And these videos are put out by, I'll have more info on this next time if I know we're going to talk about this, but there are actual organizations out there who create these videos where their stated purpose, their stated intent is to queer the curriculum. So, and what does that mean? That means they want to force kindergartners to grapple with things that most 99.9% of kindergartners never grapple with, and make them think that that's a choice that every person has to make, and it's not. And you know what? I met someone. I was at a film festival, film and music, South by Southwest here in Austin last month, and met a friend of a friend, perfectly lovely person, whose job it is, though, is to works for a gay and lesbian organization, works in the nonprofit industry, is what I would call a professional SJW, whose job it is to distribute these films to educators, to get them into school libraries, to get them into kindergarten and elementary school. I had a long conversation with this person about their job, because I understand from their point of view, they're doing something very positive. I don't think, again, this goes back to you and I believe a lot of people who are in this movement don't see the ill effects of what they're doing. They are committing potential great harm while believing that they're doing good.
You and I have had this conversation, and I found the analogy that I like better, because it's the one that I use again about other stuff as well. That's the Stormtrooper Defense, right? It's like, well, he's just doing his job. He's a stormtrooper. He thinks he's thinks he's helping out, protecting the galaxy. Like,
well, yeah, he does.
He doesn't realize the Emperor is evil. Yeah, but you still shoot stormtroopers.
Absolutely. I'm just saying, those people.
By the way, that's not an actual incitement to violence. Fucking internet. God damn it, Elon Omar. That wasn't a death threat against you.
Carter, I look like I just rolled out of bed, which I did.
That's great.
This is terrible. Oh man. Okay. Anyway, this makes me.
No, you're right, Keri. It's.
It makes me angry, and I think, I don't know. How do we get the word out that this is happening?
Pull your kids out of school. Just get them the hell out of school. Honestly, my daughter goes to a small private school, which is probably much better on a lot of these issues than a public school, and even she comes home all the time reporting. Like, I think she's mostly inoculated to stuff, so she comes and reports at how ridiculous it is. She doesn't come home indoctrinated. She comes home pointing out how her teachers are saying things that she doesn't think are correct or true. But she had they were going to do a sex and gender and puberty conversation with her. And of course, being me, I got involved, and I'm like, show me the curriculum. How are you going to present? What are you going to present? What are you going to talk about? Blah, blah, blah. But I forgot to do the obvious thing. If you have a good relationship with your kids and you talk about stuff with them, I forgot to do the obvious thing that I should have done, which I recommend every parent does. I told her. I finally remembered to do this. I said, "Oh, your teacher wants to talk about this stuff." And she goes, I don't want to talk to her about that. If I have questions about puberty, I'll talk to your mom. I don't talk to my teacher.
Your daughter's awesome.
Oh, and like it just dawned on me that I'm like, I don't have to fight this battle. I just have to be like, she doesn't want to talk to you about this. Like, that's fine. The end. She doesn't want to do it. But I think she only doesn't want to do it because we talk to her about that stuff. Like, we're not afraid to talk to her about sex and gender and like all that kind of stuff. And I would really encourage parents out there, have a relationship with their kid where you've kind of talked about, now granted, if they're in kindergarten, I guess like, I don't know what you do. Like, that's too early. You probably shouldn't be talking to them about stuff anyway. But I don't know. At least for older kids, if you have a relationship with them, like they're not going to want to go to those classes anyway. And that'll make it easier for you to just bow out. Although I guess they could have totally just not told us or done something like one of these, you know, send out a newsletter before Thanksgiving and stick it at the end. And I wouldn't have noticed, right?
And say you have to opt out. And if you don't, then they're in that class. And if you do, they might still be in that class watching this video. I mean, I would be furious if you, I mean, I can't even fathom 4 and 5-year-olds being indoctrinated in this way. And I remember what we were doing sorry, go ahead. I keep talking over you.
No, go ahead. I just want to rant because I'm angry. It's not helpful.
Yeah. Well, think back to what we were doing in kindergarten. A lot of it was playtime, but it was foundational stuff, you know?
Learning the alphabet,
learning how to read, painting.
Yeah. Finger painting. Yeah. No, the idea of like sexualizing children and like, we have to talk about, so I don't mind actually talking about anatomy. So I guess I'm a little bit of a weird parent in that from the day my daughter was born, I was like, we talked to her about her body parts.
I have a friend who does that. Yeah.
Right. Blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
That's your vulva. Right.
Yeah.
And I remember like she would get in trouble sometimes at the park because, you know, when she was like 2 or 3, there would be some other kid there and she'd be like, boys have penises and girls have vulvas. Right. Their parents would be like,
my friends' kids are like that. Yeah. They know all the words.
Yeah. But like the words are just anatomy. And so I tried to like destigmatize them. They're just words. It's just anatomy. But I don't even know where I was going. I totally lost my train of thought. It's the
Covfefe mornings are going to be like this, dude.
Yeah. You know why? I'm partly. Yeah. I'm I'm distracted because also I'm staring at a tab. Here. I will show you the tab that I'm staring at on my computer. That's just upsetting me. I should get rid of it. And maybe that would be better, but hold on, I'll put it up on the display, Keri. This is what I'm staring at. And now you and anyone watching will understand why. Pain and suffering. Oh wait, that's not it. This one.
Say, what is that?
Male Poet. That's Male Poet. This one.
Okay.
Christine Blasey Ford is now one of the Time 100 people.
Oh, good.
And Kamala Harris. Oops, I went back to Male Poet. Sorry.
Is she one too?
Kamala Harris wrote about her. I'm gonna read for the audience that's just listening. This is Kamala Harris talking about Christine Blasey Ford. Her story. She talks in hushed tones, I assure you. For this. Her story, spoken while holding back tears, shook Washington and the country. Her courage in the face of those who wished to silence her galvanized Americans, and her unfathomable sacrifice out of a sense of civic duty, and also maybe GoFundMe, shined a spotlight on the way we survivors of sexual abuse.
That's so messed up.
You can't over some stuff, but it's just like,
you can't call like.
Fuck you, Kamala Harris.
That's like calling. Arguably, if we hadn't have found out he was lying, which they did everything they could to try and make sure we couldn't find out, and then once we did, they pulled strings to get the charges dismissed. But that would be like putting Jussie Smollett in there and saying, change the way we talked about survivors of hate crimes in some people's mind. not saying I know one way or the other because we didn't get the evidence, but I never saw any evidence that what she was saying was true. In fact, I saw a lot of things that made me question it. So I hate the way that the left just takes that as sacrosanct, and they will call. I still have friends who will call Kavanaugh a rapist and stuff. I'm like, what is wrong with you? Right. What? Does that word not mean anything? Like,
yeah, no, it's I don't know. It's an injustice to actual victims. And she may or may not be a victim. That's not the point. But she made accusations and they weren't supported by any external evidence. And the external evidence that the external witnesses that she provided contradicted her, for the most part, contradicted her.
And there were obvious political motivations at play. Obvious.
Right. Oh, and also I saw somewhere on Twitter, someone was saying like, Kamala Harris's husband's like regent at Christine Blasey Ford's at Palo Alto University where she works or something like that. So it's like, oh yeah, no, I've never met her. Maybe, but
doesn't she also have family in the FBI or used to be in the FBI?
Yeah,
or CIA. I mean, CIA. Okay, look, we might be repeating rumors again. By the way, I looked up the thing from yesterday. I have an update for our viewers.
What?
Elon Omar marrying her brother, I think may just be a dirty rumor. There's no actual evidence to that effect.
Oh, well, that's good. No, I want to be corrected. So if that's not true, I want to know. So she didn't marry her brother? I'm going to look it up. Were you?
Well, you know, I saw it on Snopes, which has a left bias. By the way, lefties, Snopes has a left bias. They don't tell you that.
Here's why I'm going to say it's true. I'm going to say it's true because I'm doing, this is the extent of my research. I can do more later, but right now I'm going to say it's true because Snopes says it's unproven. If it were anywhere near unproven, Snopes would say false.
That's true. Well, it's not proven one way or the other. I'm just letting you know that. There's no actual evidence. Anyway, she was married to this.
Look, I thought there was a marriage certificate that was.
There is, but there's no evidence that dude is her brother. That guy she was married to. And so she's like, that guy's not my brother. Like, why? And she supposedly has showed some documents, which she didn't release, but showed some documents on her phone, which showed that she was the youngest and she didn't have a brother by that name and whatever. But at the same time, she's also been squirrely and skirted the issue and not answered the question directly, which is what politicians do when they equivocate, right? They don't want to lie directly, so they'll answer in a way that's not actually answering yes or no. So, but who knows? My point is it hasn't been proven, and, you know, don't go repeating that and thinking it's absolute truth, people.
Well, that's why when I said yesterday, I didn't do research. I just heard it as a rumor.
Oh, I know. I'm just giving our viewers I'm giving our 10 listeners an update.
Okay. Yeah, no, this is good. And we had more than 10 people watch yesterday even. So,
oh, that's cool.
But yeah, no, I mean, look, there's plenty to, she's a social justice warrior. So like, there's a long list of complaints against her. You don't have to pick on
those. Yeah.
Like those things, like that's fine. Anyway, what else, anything else that is getting you riled up this morning? So Christine Blasey Ford was one for me. And the other one was this fucking library thing. Actually there's another one, but what's going on with you today, Keri, other than just being
I haven't had time to look up what's going on in the news, really. Can I tell you a personal life thing that's not too personal? There are
personal, I guess.
I don't know.
What is sure? What is
okay? Have you guys, if you don't live in Texas, you may not have heard of these things. They're called like Texas tree bugs. They're
tree bug?
Okay, let me see. What do they call them?
Find one and put it up.
Yeah, I say see if you can find one. What do they call them?
Texas tree bug?
Yes. It's a huge roach, but it's not a German cockroach. It's not what you think of where you have like a roach infestation. They just show up individually, and they show up at a certain time of year, and it's getting to be that time of year. If you live in an old house that like I do, which is built in
are they June beetles?
No.
I don't see. I Google image searched it, but that must not be what it is because it's not. They're showing stink bugs and a thing.
It's a big outdoor cockroach, and some of them fly. Which, okay, if you're in New York and you're used to like German cockroaches, you first see one of these, you're like, "What's happening?" because they
Oh,
actually
really?
can fly. And when I moved into this old house, I was asking all the contractors and people and actually neighbors and stuff, like, what do you do about it? And they're like, oh, you just get used to that in Texas if you live in an old house. I'm like, well, I
Ugh.
don't want to get used to it. And so I blessedly, during the colder months, they went away. And I was like, yay. And I just was like, oh, I guess they decided they weren't going to mess with me because I don't know. Why would I think that they went away? I was thinking about this morning. Why would I think, oh, they just decided they liked me. And they're like, oh, this new person who moved in is cool. Let's not bother her. Well, they're back.
I did find, I looked up horrifying Texas Texas bugs. There are some bad ones. I mean,
It's a giant tree roach. Can I share my screen with you if I pull something up?
I don't know. Maybe try it.
Okay, hold on. Let's see. Oh. These pictures are so gross. So I guess I have a high disgust sensibility about some things, and this is one of them. And you know what? When I first moved in and we were moving stuff around, like, and sweeping and doing a deep clean, like moving appliances around and stuff.
Yeah.
And I found a bunch of these big dead tree roaches in it. Before I really knew what they were at first, I was like, oh my gosh, people who lived here before, disgusting. I was totally doing a judgment call. Okay, can I share? Let me see if I can share my screen.
Yeah, try and share
I just show you. And I don't know if you guys have any sense of the scale of how big these are. So they're about like this. It's not like those little. It's a huge, gross. Okay, share.
Okay, share the screen.
Well, you're seeing me now, aren't you?
I am. I don't see your screen.
Okay.
Oh, wait. Keri Smith sharing screen.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all I got when I did my DuckDuckGo. But if you click on those, they just say they're regular roaches. That's what they are, though? That's what you're talking
about? Well, they're called Texas tree roaches. They might also be called American cockroach. I don't know. But they're not like, it's not like infestations where it's not like you can keep them from coming in by being, it's not a matter of cleanliness. I'll put it that way. So I'm not exactly sure how to battle them besides getting, at the time of year, they seem to come in as during when it starts to get warm. And wait, how do I stop sharing? Because this is creeping me out. Stop share. Okay, there we go.
Yeah, there's probably a button. There you go.
Okay. So the time of year when they come in is when it starts to get warm, and you can get this stuff called diatomaceous earth, which you sprinkle around the house. But when it rains, and you have to sprinkle it each time. So I've been doing that because it's that time of year. But then you can sprinkle it like in an old house where you're going to have lots of little creeks and crevices. Like you can open my floor and see dirt. Like there's a little hidey hole. Like you can just go and there's also like when it rains, it kind of floods under there. It's like piers and beams. It's a really old house. When you open that up, you can see water. It's like,
I had the same thing, by the way. I had to actually put a French drain in because like we had a river going underneath the house and like coming out into the garage and going into the.
Yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah. Because the previous owners were just like, there's a river under the house, no big deal.
Yeah, that's kind of like,
I think that's good.
It's been this way for going on 80 years. I know. Yeah. Actually, when I first moved in, so I moved in last summer, and so that it was season for these bugs, and I was really like, I don't know if I can live here because we'll just make this gross Covfefe day. I was finding these big dead Texas roaches under appliances and stuff, and then I had a plumber crawl around in this little tiny crawl space, and I didn't think he was going to fit down there, but he did, and he crawled all around to make sure all the plumbing was right, and he came out and he was like, he told me all this stuff about the plumbing. He was talking for a while, and then at the end he says, and there's a big old dead possum under your kitchen sink down there and a big old gray cat who lives there. And I'd let that cat keep living there if I was you. Like, oh my gosh. Where did I move?
For a cat to live, they get rid of all the pests.
Yeah. Well, that cat has since moved out. The neighbors have claimed that cat. But there's a lot of living in an old house, you inherit a lot of different things. So anyway, the roaches are back, and this morning I just got flustered because I was getting ready, like waking up, and then hello roach just sitting there checking me out like big ol', and then I'm like so dealing with them.
That's pretty gross.
I don't have an ending to this other than if you come to visit ever in Texas, just be prepared. I had a friend who was staying with me a month and a half ago. I'm bad with time. And it was right before the season. So she blessedly didn't see any of these. But I guess they're back.
Yeah.
Yes, they're back.
That's the problem with warm places. There's a lot of great things about them, but then, you get the bugs in the warm places.
If this is boring, we can cut all of the roach talk out.
No, I think we're going to leave it in. I mean, we're going long anyway. Oh gosh. I'm hoping to have 10 to 20 minutes of content every day, but it seems like we just get in babble for a long time. I don't care. I mean, maybe it's too long. If people are watching, they can complain to us.
Yeah.
Tell us on Twitter or on YouTube. I don't know. Anything else on I only have one more complaint. Maybe this should be like curmudgeon Covfefe.
Cantankerous Covfefe with curmudgeons.
Yeah. We can go for alliteration.
Yeah.
Eric Swalwell, you know him?
Wait, why do I know that name? I do know that name.
He's a presidential candidate, and he's also a rep. I don't know where I forget.
Yes, I know who.
I don't know. I don't remember. But now he's a presidential candidate. His slogans are his tagline is "Go big, be bold, do good." But I first learned of him because he's the guy who a few months ago or a month ago maybe. It was a few months ago now. He tweeted something in reference to like there was a Second Amendment arguments or whatever, and he was like, "What? Like you couldn't like." Basically, he was saying something that's to the effect of your ARs couldn't really stop the government anyway. We have nukes.
I remember this guy.
Right? That was him, right? And so he was like, I didn't threaten to use nukes. It's like, well, kind of you did, right? Like, kind of you did. Like, if I were to say to you, you can try and fight me, but I've got a bazooka. I'm kind of threatening to use the bazooka, right? Yeah. So anyway, he had his latest thing. I love how they pretend that it's like the right that gets outraged. He writes, NRA Twitter is losing its mind with how Swalwell is going to take guns from law-abiding owners, right? But here's his defense. He says, spoiler, I'm not. I'm organizing with moms and students, irrelevant, and we're going to change the law. Weapons of war will be no more. So his argument is, I'm not taking guns from law-abiding citizens. I'm making you not law-abiding by having a gun. Therefore, it's like, what a fucking douchebag.
I'm changing the law, so.
Head. I mean, like, no, I'm not taking them from law-abiding citizens. I'm just making it illegal. So you're not law-abiding anymore. Oh, man, I wish we could make it illegal to be a congressperson.
I'm not taking away your job. I'm just I'm changing the law to make it illegal to do your job.
Right. I mean, that would be like some far right person saying like, "Oh, I'm not making it illegal to. I'm not going after gay people because they're gay. I'm just making it illegal to be gay."
Yeah.
But now they're not law abiding. Like,
yeah, I'm not going after law abiding gay people. I'm going to change.
I'm not going after law abiding gay people. I'm just making it illegal to have gay sex.
Yeah.
Like, yeah. That makes you a dick.
Mm-hmm.
And totally dishonest. So this guy, I hate this guy so much. I would rather AOC run because she would be way more fun to watch run for president than Eric.
Oh gosh, Carter.
Not even like fun. He's just
here's the thing. No. I've been saying this to people like you and other friends. You guys, people who are focusing on AOC and thinking she'll be fun to run, that's that kind of hubris, I think. I'm not, just wait here. It's like when people thought it would be fun to have Trump won and they thought they would trounce him. But the thing is, it's the law of attraction, and it's like what you focus on, you get. And the more that people focus on her, it doesn't matter if it's negative or positive, it helps her. And I do not want her running because she does have charisma. She is online, she's like the left's version of Sarah Palin in some ways because seems intellectually kind of slow. Similar. But she's also the left's version of Trump in that she's great. She is great with social media. and with the
I
one-liners.
agree. I and maybe this is just too much hubris. I just don't think she has a chance to.
Oh my gosh, don't even start saying that. You're going to curse everyone.
I mean, maybe in 10 years or whatever, but like, I
Oh
don't know.
my gosh.
She just didn't have a chance. She doesn't.
Oh no. Hey, by the way, just if
But
that
look, she would be more fun. Like, even if you don't like Trump, he's like more fun as a candidate than Jeb Bush, right? I mean,
fun. Okay, I guess. But yeah.
yeah, it's horrible. Obviously, I don't want her to actually have any power. I'm just.
Yeah, but the Clinton campaign didn't want Trump to have power. And I don't know if you guys know, but one of the things that was revealed in WikiLeaks in the Clinton emails was that during the Republican primaries, the Clinton campaign was supporting, they were helping to support getting Trump out there with the press. And Trump and Ben Carson, that they called them and a few others, they called them the Pied Piper candidates because they thought they were a crazy town. And they were like, let's get the press to do more pieces on these candidates, and they thought this would help take down the ones that really had a chance. But they basically just helped to push and support this guy. And then later it came to bite them in the behind. So,
well, don't worry. If she announces that she's running, I will oppose her and mock her some more.
but then no, you're just focusing on her. Just focus somewhere else.
Just ignore her.
Yeah, focus on Swalwell because he's not fun.
I am. I'm talking about Swalwell.
That's true. That's true.
I didn't bring. I guess I did bring her up, but I started with Swalwell. Group and Fear of Swalwell was my first. Yeah. Anyway.
I want to say one final thing is a PSA about Texas. If the roach talk turned you off, here's a great thing about Texas. I'm looking right outside my window at a beautiful blue jay, a male blue jay.
I have blue jays in Oakland. There's a blue jay.
I know, but do you live in the woods?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess you could live in the woods in Oakland.
Not many people live in the woods in Oakland. There's like 3 spots. But yeah. Yeah, I don't know. Texas is better than California. I will give you that. So,
real
I would
Texas.
rather have roaches than Kamala Harris.
Real, yeah.
So that's.
There's a joke in there somewhere about is there a difference? Ah ha ha.
Yes, but see that I can't make it because that makes me a misogynist asshole. But you can. Good job.
Not really that funny. Okay.
You're not. I don't know. Yeah. Okay, we did it. This is day 2, everyone. Probably, again, twice as long as we wanted it to be. But, hey, we'll run out of shit to talk about eventually, and it'll get down to 10, 20 minutes. So
this is a work in progress, guys. This is evolving.
Yeah. Give us comments and thoughts. Tell us what to do. Oh, follow us on Twitter at Unsafe Space, and subscribe on YouTube at Unsafe Space is the YouTube channel. And go to unsafespace.com and put your email in the email thing, which is now working, at unsafespace.com, so that when we finally get banned, which I'm sure will happen if we're successful, we'll still be able to email you and say, hey, here's where our content is. So, all right. Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, guys. Bye-bye.